Alright, here's a little progress video. I got the entire HVAC system pulled out. It's my engine harness that's kind of like going up through there. I got this termination block completely removed. This is like basically the whole, it ties in from this side of the dash over here. That's the driver's side. Then it comes through. This is about the middle right here. This wiring is really long. I got it labeled in a few places, and it runs to this junction box. That junction box goes to I think IJ1 or 1J2 or whatever those are called. It's these ones that are connected to the engine harness. It's there up there. I got one of them labeled, I think IJ2. But yeah, they all terminate at this junction box here. This little blue connector, and I think this teal one, they connect down here to this junction that's under this black box right here. The connectors are up there. Yeah, it's pretty empty in here. I started labeling all the stuff that I have fused over there at my fuse box, and then after that I just need to pull what's on top of this carpet out so I can get over there and really start pulling apart all this last bit of wiring, get that fuse box out, get the couple things bolted over there, and then I'm gonna put all this stuff in the new car, and then yeah, be pretty much ready to rock and roll. Because the rest of this wiring doesn't take very long to get out. It just runs along to here, runs up to the trunk, and there's not much wiring compared to this freaking spaghetti mess over here. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and feed this stuff in first, and then after that I'll have to just get the body harness that runs across the radiator core support and under the fender wells and stuff like that, and it's about the equivalent of this, but in not all crammed behind the freaking dash. So it took me like, I don't know, a day to do all that. This is taking me probably like 3 to do all this stuff, to get the dash out, to get the HVAC out, to get all the wiring mostly out, and label all that crap. Yeah, coming along nice. Whole new car. Haven't got the engine bay all in the mix of this after the clear coat. Man, it's shiny. Looks really, really good. Looks nice and pretty. We got some beefcakes in the back. Some big old beefy boys. I still gotta pull out this steering column, and then yeah, pretty much just run the wiring, reattach this whole freaking mess right here. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right, progress report of the day. We got the giant cross member in. We got the wire harness for the dash and the body harnesses for the front all in last night. We got the engine harness down there. That was a bitch. Yeah, I'm about to, I think my next step is going to be put the brake and clutch pedal in, and do the steering column and steering rack. Some of that duct work I put back in. let's go up to the front and we'll show that set of harnesses up there. So I got fuse box back in. It's the wiper motor up there. You see my battery lines. One of them goes to the starter, one goes to the block for ground. There's another one right there, the battery tray. It's the engine harness that's a freaking wreck down there. We got this whole harness in underneath there that pretty much connects to everything. Then it runs down under there through that plastic little guard for the wiring, then through the firewall under the fender well. I got this windshield wiper fluid thing on there, these relays down there for the daytime running lights, my horns, a lot of wiring. This ground actually broke off and I had to weld a nut to the back side of it under here. Thank God I don't have like fenders or anything on it. Here's the little turd right there. Had to weld it up to get it off of there. Just sheared the head right off the bolt. Scratched up the paint a little, but it's kind of gonna happen, I guess. A lot of vacuum lines and crap that I got ran through there, like my map sensor and all that. The boost gauge, wide bands. What's up, brother? Almost looks like a car again. Probably not to most, but to me. Yeah, got pedals in there. Got a steering wheel in there, steering column. Put the steering rack in today. Column there. Started, it's like the second time I tried to paint my brake booster that goes in that hole. That's why I'm showing that hole. Yeah, it's over there. I'll zoom in on it. You can see the front of it has a real nasty texture to it. Side doesn't. Side is real reflective, looks good. The front, I don't know what happened to it, why it's like that, but I'm just sanding the front back down for the third time and hopefully get it right and get it looking like this stuff right here. Because it's the same paint, same sandpaper, same clear coat, same procedure I used, and it just, I don't know why, but it doesn't want to stick the same. Came here for my keys. I did me a little mini alignment. Really, I just did toe. Since I already had all that stuff off, just eyeballed it with a measuring tape. Front to back of the wheel, and then I got my fuel injectors. Can't really see, but yeah, fuel injector clinic box there. I'm about to ship out. They soaked in ethanol for too long for me to just plop them in and run them, unfortunately. Yeah, update of the day. Try to keep trucking on this thing. All right, little update. So I did get the diff out yesterday. The axle boot I tore because I torched those bolts. I made a video of me cracking them loose yesterday and it sounded like a freaking pistol going off in here whenever they broke loose. Like you had to turn the wrench like 60 degrees to get it to break loose. I just WD'd this thing down. Yeah, it was on this side of the passenger side axle. I'm on the driver's side right now, and I was torching these bolts that go right here, and it ended up melting. It got this metal real hot and it started melting all this crap. So I had to order me a new one. And I don't think this one leaks. Neither of these look like they have leaks at all. They're still pretty pliable. They're not like rock hard. Nothing like that. Yeah. That's what I did yesterday. Today, I tried to dissect. Well, I did dissect 2 axles. I did the old one off of the 97 car. It's back there in pieces because I had to figure out how the fuck it came apart. Because it, you know, you open it up from the back side and there's not a C-clamp. It's on the front side. And it didn't look like this little cover that goes on the front of the axle comes off. But it did. Whenever I started pulling this cover off, because it has like a lip on it, it seems like it comes apart. Whenever I started peeling that off, the back ended up falling up out of there, and I saw that it was falling, and I grabbed a little flathead screwdriver and pried it off, and then yeah, ended up trying to figure out how it comes apart. That's why I did it with that one. The threads on the end of it are all mushroomed in, so I figured if I break it, then, you know, it is what it is. That's why all the freaking ball bearings came out of it, out of the CV, all the little steel balls. So yeah, I definitely didn't want that to go happen with this one. I pulled it apart and kept the whole assembly together because I realized I didn't have to take off anything except that back cover that I just showed that's over there. Just pulled off that little tiny cover, and then the CV will stay together, and you can reach in there and grab the C-clip that's actually on the front right here instead of in the back like they normally are on most axles. Yeah, this boot didn't even work out. That's why I started taking that one apart first anyways, but because I melted the boot. Yeah, if you ever need to pull apart an SC axle or a Supra axle, that's how it has to come apart. You pull this guy off of the back that goes towards the diff. It literally goes into the diff stubs, the axle stubs that are in the diff. Your bolt holes are those little end chutes right there. My fingers, my little pinky finger just sliding into. That's your bolt holes. You just, you know, pry it out. There was a little gasket in the early model ones. The late model one, my 99, didn't have a gasket. It actually has like a cup, kind of like this, where it goes around the outside of it, which I think is a much better design. It's just clamp load force that holds it on whenever you bolt the axle down, so it can't come apart on you. Make your axles look like they have a bad leak. Well, they really would have a bad leak if it could seep out of somewhere. But yeah, and then after you get that cover off, you can slide the CV back just a smidge, keep it straight so those balls don't fall out of their joint. As long as you keep it straight and you don't cock it crooked, they won't come out. And then you just pull the C-clip, so that's on the end of this guy right here, and then slide it off nice and straight. I would recommend putting the cover back on it whenever you get it off, just so it can't fall apart on you. I clamped it back together while I'm waiting on that boot and bagged it up, because I do have metal shavings and shop material crap just, you know, everywhere. So loves that grease, thick ass axle grease. It loves that shit. So probably clean that out and repack it with some new grease, and send it with a new boot on there. Jesus, yeah, it's been my day. All about this stupid boot that, you know, AutoZone and O'Reilly's don't seem to carry anything similar enough to it. I'll give you these huge boots that are like 4 inches, and this one's like 2 3/4 by like 1 1/4 inches. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start probably doing the wiring in this car, either that or the dash. I'm gonna either do that or the dash probably right now. I might go ahead and do the, I don't know, I'm so torn. Yeah, that's my next steps, is just run the wiring. I'm gonna pull it out of that car. Well, but the wiring that runs from these fuse boxes that are under the kick panels down there, that run across the frame rail and go through there and swivel into the trunk and then grab the stuff out of the trunk. And that'll be it. That's the last bit of wiring I need off of that car. The rest of it will just be me adding stuff, so I guess I'm gonna get after it. All right, so here's this wire loom here. I got a lot of the plastics put back together, just so I know how things are routed, what needs loom and what doesn't. Might be another piece of plastic up there for this part, but this goes to the old igniter. And this little gray connector goes to the noise canceling thing that's right here on the igniter. So I'm probably not gonna be able to use that. And then the black one goes to the horn, obviously. So I'm probably going to just terminate all these separately, like use some tape and shrink wrap, and then tuck it back in this loom with the horn to where it's just out of the way. Yeah, just so I know where the horn and all. The horn went somewhere over here, I think, to that right there somewhere. I think I had it tucked up out of the way. But yeah, I got all of these wires out. I'm about to get out and show that. I pulled all these wires out from the igniter right here. So a few of them are just battery positive, so B+, and then the rest of them are ignition triggers. So the ones that were already ran, this is my old harness here for the coils. This ran from the igniter. So I'm gonna lay that guy down in here in my spare wiring box. But yeah, it was, I guess that's not, okay, yeah, so there was a couple battery wires I have up here. Yeah, so I'll separate that out. So these 3 wires right here, 2 of them are cut because they ran to somewhere else or they ran to the coils. And everything's all taped up in the harness how it should be. So all this stuff is battery positive or B+. And then these 3 right here are my ignition trigger wires for 3 of the coils, since it was on wasted spark. So I'm gonna have to look at that and try to remember. I'm about to pull out some tape and label it. Gotta tame the flying spaghetti monster today. Freaking wires everywhere. It's all right. Taking this thing apart enough times to know where stuff goes. So now I'm trying to weasel this tack wire back into back into the car. Was getting a signal off the igniter from over here, from this old dude right here. Right there, 3rd pin from the top, tack wire. Gonna send it back through the firewall, try to get a signal off the ECU. Hopefully that'll work for these new coils. Gonna try to at least get those wired up today. These guys, I got another Deutsch connector. I gotta send all my ignition triggers too. A couple power wires and that sort of thing. Yeah, hopefully by the end of the day I'll have it. All right, the old flying spaghetti monster's about back together. I got the factory plastic loom all back on it. Everything that needs to go on except for the big part that runs right here. It's this guy. Cut all the tape off of it just to, you know, be able to route wiring and all that. I still gotta loom some of it, but I got my shielded knock sensor wiring in. I need to just terminate it to the plug and terminate this to the ground right here. So I got it routed back to the factory grounding points on both ends. Where the hell did my other one go? It's down here. And it swoops back around to the ground also, that green wire. I soldered it, soldered the shielding on it, and then I got my oil pressure sensor wiring all routed through the harness. It zigzags all the way back to there. You can see part of it right here. And then my coil pack harness, this guy, whole bunch of wires for it. Yeah, it's coming together. Coming together. It's my injector wiring. There's a few plugs I gotta replace on here, like I can't remember which ones specifically, but I know one's the cam sensor. I'm gonna replace the connector for it, wherever it is in here in this mess. And then there's a couple more that I was gonna get. Yeah, just some tape and wiring loom on some of this crap back here. And then my fuel pump wiring. I'm actually going to route that differently than it was because I just had it, you know, soldered in over there in the fuse box, or crimped in, however. Yeah, this is the two plugs that plug in right there, right underneath there. You can see them. So I'm gonna route it with this set of wires, and then what I'll do there is I'm gonna actually put like a little, this is the other end of it, right? So I'm gonna put a little 1-pin connector on it, since it's only gonna be energizing the coil side now. Since it's just a trigger wire, I'm not too concerned that the amperage will be too high for it. So I'm just gonna get me a little cheap O'Reilly's or AutoZone, whatever plug, and then solder that bad boy up, just to where I can have some removability right here with these plugs. It'll look kind of neat. So yeah, all I gotta do is terminate at the ECU. Everything's ran down there, and then terminate over here, which isn't too bad really. It's just crimp some little plugs on there. Go ahead and show that. So here's my two knock sensor shielded wiring. You can kind of see the little swirls in it from the shielded
braid running through it, and then here's my oil pressure sensor, and then my coil pack trigger wires right here. Yep, and then I also ran my, this is the tack wire that was on the igniter. So got a whole crap ton of slack for it. So should be no problem. This wiring's gonna get cleaned up pretty soon here. That'll be it for today though. Looking a little less messy every day. Well, maybe not, but it's it'll clean up. It's got to get worse before it can get better. Yeah, better go home before my wife kills me. Man, I'm not sure why it takes me so long to do all this crap. But here's my coil packs. Finished those up, loomed them up. And then I did these knock sensor eyelets. Did those. Try to make them look good. And then I routed up this this little dude right here. This connector. I just added this in. Try to make it look clean. I'll probably tape it off to that guy or something. I don't know. Just to keep it back in there with the rest of the connectors and make it look clean. Oh, I didn't even have the phone on it. Yeah. This little dude comes out of the fuse box for my fuel pump relay. So I just routed it through the harness. Through there, up through there. It comes from trigger wire inside the car at the ECU. But yeah, just wired up that little connector so I can take it apart. Soldered it here and here. Hopefully those joints don't break on me. I mean, it's not really a spot that's going to vibrate much, because there is this clamp is actually what holds this on, I believe. It's either that or the ground, or so. I don't think it's this or that. I don't know. Pretty sure it's this wiring here. But yeah, I got that to where I can actually take it apart now. And then, yeah, this thing's doing good. It hasn't leaked at all. Not even a little bit. I've had it pretty much pulling a vacuum all day long. I had that on there for like 45 minutes, pulled a vacuum for that long, and then, yeah. So, hopefully this will work. I didn't get a chance to wire up that sensor today, but I did test it out. It is not making continuity right now. Yeah, I checked for continuity on the sensor while I had a vacuum on it, and it wasn't making continuity, so I know that the low side works. Unless the contacts are just corroded to where it never makes contact. I don't know how else to really check that. I don't know. I don't know how else to really, until I have pressure on the line. I'd have to like pull the sensor out, and yeah, that's too much. But yeah, that's all I got done today. Seems kind of short-lived, but yeah, got some loom on there, got some wires in there. It looks, I got the hood off too. That's one thing I did. But yeah,
That's all for today. Well, my brother came over, helped me drop the motor in. It's all bolted up, got the transmission cross member mounted now underneath the car. And I cut the hole for the transmission. Clearance is a little tight, but it sits a little bit below there, so it'll be all right. And I got my NOx sensors terminated at the ECU now. Right here, I figured out which ones are which. Oh, that thing don't want to go, does it? I'm trying to see what I'm doing here. There it goes. God, one of them pins acted like they're gonna let go on me, but it's in there good now. Yeah, pretty cool, moving along pretty good. I think there is just one more wiring thing I really need to do as far as the ECU and all that stuff goes before I start tidying this up and, you know, throw some tape on the mix and zip tie it to where it lives and try to get everything all somewhat organized now. It's a wreck. Kind of hard to keep it from not being a wreck the way everything gets wired up without having to do a lot of work. I still need to put the harness back here. It runs right there where those little plastic clips are, and then it runs through this black metal cover, and then it runs along here, and I think it goes back into the, yeah, it goes back into the trunk on both sides, and feeds the sub and all that stuff, the amp, everything. Yeah, that is the last bit of wiring I need to do, including the air conditioning pressure switches. I'm gonna just route a wire through the firewall and that'll be it. I can terminate down here and that'll be good to go. I'll loom it up. I'll put the last bit of plastic on this wire loom. It feels weird getting out this car and it not being high off the ground. A lot more space in here now too, without the motor and transmission in the middle of the freaking room. Yeah, so this loom back here, I can't put that back on until, I guess I could probably put the plastic one back on. Yeah, I just gotta wire up to this high-low pressure switch here. It's right down there to my pre-existing wiring, and then throw that old harness back in there and it'll be ready to go. As far as engine and wiring and stuff like that, being at least in the car. Yeah, it looks pretty good. All right, so I'm doing a little mock-up of the wiring right now. So everything's wanting to fit. got coolant temp and all that. Right there, there's my knock sensor. There's my other knock sensor down there. Plugged in. This guy could have been a little bit longer. And that looks like it'll do fine bolting up to the manifold. On that side there, not a lot of this other stuff got changed too much. I just really moved stuff around and taped stuff and all that. Try to make it a little cleaner looking. This is gonna get loom and tape on it also. Right there. Not sure why all these wires are wanting to pooch out like they are. But it's all right. Probably look all right with some loom on it. My new cam sensor wire. And then my coils I made just entirely too long. Like, just entirely too long. But that's all right. Rather it be a little too long than too short. And that way, if anything ever gets messed up, I got plenty of real estate to trim it back and re-terminate stuff if I need to. Let's see how I can route that up without it looking goofy. You know, I don't know. It might just have to have a little strain relief back here or something behind where the fuel injectors will probably sit, and then plug in right there. And this ground has no problem reaching up here. The factory ground right there. Yeah, I haven't tried to plug that in yet. I should probably make sure that the two will plug together. Since I got it from a source I don't really trust. I mean, dude was all right, but I mean, he seemed like he was trying to scam me at one point. This is really hard to do with one hand. So I'm gonna set the phone right here for just a moment. Yeah, goes together like a glove. So here's the connector right there, the Deutsch connector. So here's how long I made it, and lots of slack back there on the harness. That's all right though. I can just, it comes out like this through this harness right here. So it's probably better that I loop it around anyway. It's just so it doesn't get too much stress right there. Yeah. I think this is gonna work out just fine. The way I got everything routed right now. This makes me want to throw on my exhaust manifold and my turbo and get all that stuff on there so I can look at it every day when I come here and have a little excitement for it. Damn shame those coils are going to be hidden under there, but that's all right. They'll be down there cooking. That they will. Yeah, it kind of puts a damper on what I wanted to do over here with this oil pressure sensor being a little bit too short. It's not really short, like it's got some wiggle room on it, but I wanted to put a oil cooler, or heat exchanger really, right here. It'll sandwich up kind of like stock, and that would put this probably right here, and that might be a little stretch for the wire. So what I think I'm gonna do is throw like a 45 or a 90 right there on the sandwich plate, and then attach this to that. Jesus Christ. That's a dirt bike. I thought it was a car. I was like, what kind of turd is that? Yeah, it's a long video. I guess I'll cut it short here.